Hey everybody, welcome to the Free Toaster News Pod. I am your host, Caro, and I'm here with the Free Toaster co-founder, Nick Madrid. Every week, we go deeper into one story that we publish from our Wednesday edition of our newsletter. If you're not on the newsletter already, please check it out at www.thefreetoaster. Before we dive into today's story, I want to thank our sponsors, Bulldog Media Group, Spinwheel, and Fintel Connect. This week, we're going to break down Affirm's FDIC application. They've done this through a Nevada chartered industrial loan company. Nick, what have you learned so far about this story?
Yeah. So, the move, which just happened last week on January 23rd, saw them file with the FDIC and Nevada regulators to establish Affirm Bank. And it's a big move, since Max Levchin founded the company back in 2012. The mission has always been honest financial products, no compounding interest, no late fees, no hidden fine print. But, I think this new bank charter is a mechanism that allows them to finally move away from the sponsor bank model. Currently they rely on third-party partners like Cross River Bank, who, by the way, are actually big fans of the toaster. We know the team and they're cool, to originate their loans. And, by becoming a bank, they're able to own that own stack.
So that shift from tech app to bank, what have you seen any performance on what that's, how the business is doing from a lending perspective?
Yeah, and if you're wondering, the economics of no late fees, how that actually works, the numbers are actually quite strong. It's a dual revenue model, and they earn interest from consumers on some loans. And in fact, I found 72% of their volume was interest bearing as of late 25. But they also earn a fee from the retailers, and this is where the value prop gets interesting, and to merchants, and where it's to merchants, it's important. Affirm isn't just a payment button, but rather they're a sales tool, and they've reportedly boosted average order values by, I think, 92% by some partners. Clearly, that's marketing speak, but it's the big numbers when you think about the scale that they can drive sales. Although when you think about the importance of merchants and merchant growth, maybe it's a data point. We did find interesting that in Q4 of 25, they actually Affirm gained 0 net new merchants. They added 4, they also lost 4, down from 2 net new ads in Q3. And then in Q2, they had 7 net new ads, which really helped from Costco. So these are big names, merchants that Affirm has done deals with. Real quick on this, so in the 0% offer, it seems to attract, higher quality borrowers with FICO scores 20% higher than the average. While their credit, their delinquency rate still is relatively flat at 2.8%, at least as of September of last year.
I remember last year, Affirm put out a press release about their card business. And I was personally very surprised how big that business was. It was in the millions already when I looked at it last year. I post about it on LinkedIn. I think people were similarly surprised because they've been building this under the radar. Have you seen anything about their card business? Because I think most of what you shared was related to their buy now, pay later offer.
Yeah, I think, the Affirm card has really become, a big growth engine, maybe the second growth engine for them. Because we're not just talking about online checkout anymore. They're moving into the physical wallet to capture that offline everyday spending. I'm pretty sure the Affirm card has 2.8 million active users. And then I have some notes here on the growth, where it's 135% year-over-year GMV growth, and then 187% growth in offline in-store spending. So it's becoming a habit.
Yeah, no, it's the 2.8 million active users. Just putting that into context, I'm looking at some of the notes you sent prior to our chat today, and they went up 500,000. They added 500,000 card holders in a quarter. So the raw math on that, it's about 170,000 new customers per month. I mean, that's a stunning number. If you were to try to do that in the open market on affiliate marketplaces, for example, or direct mail, you'd be really hard pressed to build a business of that scale. And that's on the open market, where there's millions of transactions happening per month, and these folks are doing it through their first party channel as a cross sell. So I'm just kind of blown away here by the scale of the card program, and it's not a program that I see issuers out there consider competition because it's so low profile, but it's really starting to gain a lot of traction.
Yeah, and let's not forget about the scale of the partnerships. They just extended their deal with Amazon through January 2031, which just it gives them a seat at the table of the world's largest checkout flow for the next 5 years. And then, but circling back to this whole reason why we're talking about the bank application, I mean, it's obvious, at least maybe to us and to most people, but the why is just really about the cost of capital. Right now, a firm has to borrow money from Wall Street or other banks, to fund those loans, and obviously that's expensive. And if they become a firm bank, and they own that entire relationship, or they try to own that entire relationship, they can hold your deposits, and even if they pay like 4% on savings, that's cheaper for them from what they're paying in the debt markets, and their margins immediately expand.
Are you seeing them promote a 4%
I
savings?
don't. I'm just kind of saying, right? They can promote a crazy number and still do pretty well relative to
I
what they're
mean, I
paying.
mean, if they had a 4% cost of capital, like we just run with that, 4% cost of capital on what's likely a subprime credit card or maybe a near prime credit card, where their competition sometimes is paying double digits on cost of capital. It's just a huge operating advantage. And add that to the fact that their CACs are maybe zero or close to because of the cross sell play. So I mean, this program's going nowhere. I'm kind of waiting for the moment where they decide to play outside of the walls of their existing customers and go bump up against Capital One, Credit One, those types of issuers.
I agree. So like, you think about like really strong tech with a really low cost of capital, really strong brand embedded in some of the major merchants. That sounds like it's something that's pretty hard to compete with. In
Yeah,
my
no,
mind.
I think it's something worth watching, and I guess my note out to subprime card issuers or just card issuers in general would be to put this on your radar. Put the Affirm card particularly on your market research diligence list, because they're clearly it's clear there's something going on here. There's a distribution model that's unique. There's soon going to be, if the FDIC application goes through, a cost of capital advantage. So these folks don't look like they're going anywhere, in my opinion, and I think are building a foundation here to compete on a much bigger basis. And the other thing I'll note here is a firm's brand is starting to become a factor as well. Like if I talk to friends outside of fintech who can just name a firm as a player in lending, like unaided, and that's not something a lot of the subprime card issuers have as an asset. So when these folks decide they want to play and compete against some of the bigger guys, I think they're going to have a brand that can actually be a factor. So
That's cool.
cool.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah, please.
Do you want to talk about Amanda real quick? I think she publicly posted about her role, and I only say that because I wonder if we should schedule a dinner around buy now, pay later. Get some thought leaders together. Let's kind of talk about this more in person and throughout the invitation.
Yeah, no, I
And
like it. I like it. And I mean, just to put a finer point on that. So I think you're mentioning Amanda Braslow, who's our new GM of events at the Toaster. And just to plug what we're going to be doing this year, we're going to be putting together dinners, roundtables, one-day events, multi-day events, all in the consumer lending niche, likely starting in marketing, so growth. And we actually ran an event this week, Nick. So I don't know if you want to talk about that one, just as a maybe a preview of what's to come.
yeah, we were in a marketing event in San Francisco. Really great dinner at Chez Fico, marketing leaders, primarily consumer fintech, but a little bit beyond that. And it just went so well. People were happy, good food, good peer conversations. And it's just giving us, validation that like this kind of thing can work with our community. They're fun, they're engaging, you get good food, you meet good people. So we're gonna have more dinners throughout the year, and then obviously we have our bigger conferences that we haven't really talked about that you'll know. We'll share more when we have it. But yeah, it's just I'm super excited to have Amanda on. She's great.
I've had people reach out to me unprompted over the last week, like mentioning, "Hey, you're working with Amanda." So like her brand recognition, her personal brand's obviously very good already, and yeah, we're pumped to have her on the team. And if you're if you're interested in sponsoring any of these live events, please contact either us or Amanda directly.
She's at Amanda at thefreetoaster.com. I'm Nick at thefreetoaster.com. And Carlos is Carlos at thefreetoaster.com.
Yeah. One other plug, Nick, while we're plugging. The next event's going to be in March in New York City. It's for growth companies, so probably mostly fintechs, but anyone who's looking to scale in direct mail. We're going to be having a roundtable discussion in New York City early March, and we have a sponsor already lined up here. I won't announce who it is until everything's signed up and ready to go. But if you're interested in participating in that event, hit us up, any of the three of us, to be considered for that.
And the last thing, we wouldn't be good content creators if we didn't leave people on a cliffhanger. Albeit small, non-public, non-closed transaction, we're going to buy another media company, all in related to what we're doing. So hopefully we can share more of those details next week. It should go quickly, a small and mighty, but that's pretty exciting for the toaster business.
Yeah, fingers crossed that deal goes through, Nick.
Yes.
But, yeah, I'm excited about it. So
Cool.
All right, well, I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Carlos. Bye.
Bye.